YouTube did a new giant crackdown on independent media. This is really upsetting thing. I don't know what has happened since this occurred. So this happened like last week. I don't know how it's been ameliorated. I think some people have gotten it fixed, but others haven't. So let me show you some of the details here. YouTube has demonetized Graham Elwood, the Progressive Soapbox, the Convo Couch, and Ford Fisher for entirely unspecified reasons. The appeals process is entirely opaque and unaccountable. They could be left demonetized for months or forever with no explanation. Some more examples. There's another channel by the name of Frank Analysis. They were demonetized. Jordan Chariton had, the video pulled that we talked about. He had a journalist on the ground at the attempted insurrection, and the guy simply recorded everything going on around him, and that video was pulled. And they pulled it because they said, oh, this is spreading misinformation or whatever. It was literally just documentary footage. So, now again, this happened like a week ago. So I don't know. Some of them I think have gotten their monetization back. Some of them haven't. Some channels were just flat out pulled. But either way, here we go again. Now this stuff tends to happen in waves. But when the waves hit, holy shit. This reminds me of the original Adpocalypse, as it was called. Where overnight, my channel, David Pakman's channel, so many channels that YouTube just shut it all down for news and politics, and we were fully demonetized in the blink of an eye. Man, it was terrifying. And it was at that time we created the Patreon account, and I said, I don't trust these guys, and I'm never going to trust them again. So if you support the show, help a brother out and pay $1 or $2 per month on Patreon, because, this is incredibly scary overnight to be completely defunded. Well, now others have experienced that exact same thing that I experienced, whatever it was, 2017, was it? 2018, something like that? You can't trust YouTube. You can't trust YouTube. And again, as was pointed out here, there's no process. There's no clear rules. There's no reasonable interpretation of the rules. Just like with the Jordan Chariton example, they're not even following their own fucking rules. I don't know, you're promoting conspiracies. It was just recording what was happening. Listen, some of these guys, I know Jamal Thomas, the Progressive Soapbox. I don't know the size of his channel. I think he probably at 30,000, 50,000 subs, something along those lines. Don't quote me on that. I'm just guessing and going based off memory here, but that's a decent sized channel. And the guy does a lot of good work. And just woke up and rug was pulled out from underneath him. Graham Elwood. That's another guy whose work I'm familiar with. I think he's a little bit newer to the lefty talk scene compared to most of the other people who are on the scene, but just overnight, boom, it totally demonetized. They don't give him a reason. They don't... Listen, be careful what you wish for. Everybody who's cheering on censorship, everybody who's cheering on deplatforming, everybody who's cool with the algorithms that screw the little guy, here we are. Here we are. And it's getting better for the big guys and worse for the little guys. How many times have I told the story about how in the 2016 election, the algorithm was treating us pretty fairly, and we doubled the size of the channel. You could watch a CNN video and get recommended a secular talk video. Now we're deprioritized, and we don't get recommended nearly as much. So if you already watch the show, you'll get recommended videos. But if you're a new person, it's almost impossible to come across a secular talk video. It is incredibly hard. And they don't admit this part, YouTube doesn't, but I'm convinced there's a tier system for everything. There's a tier system for how the algorithm treats you. There's a tier system for monetization. And they really are creating this hierarchy where at the top are the outlets that get shit wrong all the time. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, zero accountability for them. They could push conspiracies all day long like Russiagate. No accountability whatsoever. They get away with everything. They're just viewed as the gold standard. And then the smaller you go and the more independent you go, the more they get screwed by the system. And this is another example. Happened all at once. All at once this happened. Demonetizing some people who are doing good work. Plenty of people here doing some good work. Ford Fisher, by the way, is just another person who's just a on-the-ground documentarian, if you will, following extremist groups. They couldn't differentiate between being an extremist and like advocating for genocide and somebody who is chronicling how crazy those people are. Couldn't distinguish, couldn't differentiate, and Ford Fisher, this has happened previously with. See what happens when we open this door? Should never cheer for censorship or deplatforming or demonetization, because it's always gonna hit the left, because it's not about left-right overall. It's about who's powerful and who's not. And anybody who's independent, regardless of where they fall on the political spectrum, if you question orthodoxy and the prevailing narrative and the conventional wisdom of the establishment, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And so anyway, I hope it works out for all these people. I hope YouTube reverses the decision. Like I said, some of them I think they have, others I don't know. But nobody should have to go through this, man. There's zero protections. It's just you blink and all of a sudden you're fully demonetized or your channel is totally pulled down or whatever. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And the other thing that's got to stop is they got to stop pretending like Fox News and CNN and MSNBC are the gold standard and good at what they do. And they push their stuff out relentlessly. There was a time when CNN used to get 700 views per video. Now that they get hundreds of thousands and millions, but it's because it's force-fed to people. They got to create a more fair monetization system, algorithm system, so on and so forth, because this is unacceptable.